All right. So the first one is well, first of all, let's talk about this possible Harden to Brooklyn thing. Let's get that out the way first. So we got what is it? It's James Harden to Brooklyn, and then Houston would get Karis LeVert, plus pieces, right? And it's just like the immediate reaction that I had to that is just that one, I don't want to be that Harden and Kyrie. I don't know. I don't want to be I don't want to be not enough basketball guy. Like I don't want to be that. And Steve Nash has a lot of smart people around him. He's a really smart dude. So if anybody can make those supreme offensive weapons work together in cohesion, it'll be Steve Nash. But I just don't know. Like again, we're talking about style of play here. Guys heavy on the ISO. You know how I feel about that. You know how I feel about that in Portland with Dame Lillard and CJ. Like it's just like that style. We've just seen that style a lot. We've seen it a lot, and it gets you far. But I haven't seen it go over the top. So I just don't know what that means for ball movement. But I also don't know if James Harden, who was playing that way because he was in Houston's system to play that way, maybe he's a more versatile basketball player than we give him credit for, and maybe he looks different in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I feel like it's worth noting that being who he is and who he's been to Houston, they're gonna try to trade him somewhere that he wants. So his list of trade destinations is important. I just want to say that first because not always just like a pipe dream, these things that come up. Like if he's saying, these are the three places that I would really like to go, they are obliged to try and help him go. We've seen it happen before to help him go where he might want to go. We've also seen the other side of it, but I would venture to think that all that he's done in Houston, warrants him like that respect to consider places that he would say, these are the places I'd like to go. If Brooklyn is a real option, I'm on the side. I'm a believer that star players, when you put them with other star players, not to say it just works automatically. Obviously, it's not the case. You got to work things out. But players at the level of Kyrie, Harden, Durant, that's a lot of elite firepower, elite just stuff, and more talent should equal better basketball, right? And the more talent you should have better chances at winning a championship, right? So of course we know that they'd be a contender right away. Look,
I think they win the East.
Basketball is offense driven right now, especially right now. The beauty of it, if Kyrie goes down or someone's out or whatever, you still got two left. I mean, even if two go down, one can carry you to win just 40, 45 games, 50 games, whatever. So if that's going to be a reality, then I think it's guaranteed that the Brooklyn Nets win a championship and that, Harden gets his first ring. And frankly, that'd be a smart move on his part to link up with two of those guys who are skill guys, who are hoopers, who I talked about on our last video, like hooper stars, not just stars. And guys that have won rings already.
I mean, I read a report that said Harden, he's committed to Houston and everything like that. And I'm sure he is if he ends up having to stay there. But now this pivot, when just the other day people were saying it's ridiculous to even consider that Harden would be going to Brooklyn X, Y, and Z. Like you said, that may not be a bad move for his career. Everybody else is putting themselves in the best position to win. And if you put him on the Brooklyn Nets, like I said, with the issues I have with them is as it comes to winning a championship, being able to overcome a title, but they're immediately in the conversation just off of star power alone. I think they win the East like that.
I mean, who could with James Harden comes to the East?
Nobody else in the East has the dogs to do it.
Who's pound for pound? Who's rocking with that? It's not Giannis. Giannis might as well be out, go to Golden State.
That's the thing.
Power shift like that, that's gonna affect other things. If Giannis moves, if Harden moves, like you're talking about, so major shifts.
That's the thing. Like these things affect the parity in the NBA. So like while we were rooting for all of this parity, and we got a season this year where we're like, wow, like it's not just 3 or 4 teams that could win this year. There might be 5, 6 like potential teams that can win it all. Something like that would change it instantaneously. Now, maybe Giannis, like that would definitely hurt Milwaukee's chances of re-signing Giannis because you can't be a star by yourself anymore. It might be that way right now. Right. They're going to be desperately searching for a way to upgrade their second guy so that he's not Chris Middleton. No disrespect to Chris Middleton, but that's what they have to do.
They're trying to upgrade. They want to.
Yeah. All right. So I mean, I guess we'll see what happens with that. But I do have something, and we'll get into these trades now. I do have something for if James Harden goes somewhere, but it's not Brooklyn. So I touched earlier about my issues with Portland, and I'm on the record for even saying with the Washington Wizards pre-Wall injury, break him and Bradley Beal up. They're good, but not great. So Portland wants to get over the top, and then the Rockets get their fresh start. Blazers get James Harden, and Portland gets, Houston gets CJ McCollum, Zach Collins, Anthony Simons, Nasir Little, and 2 first-rounders. So basically, CJ goes to Houston, and the Rockets get a fresh start with young guys and assets. And then James Harden goes, and now that Blazers team is Lillard, Harden, Melo. And then now maybe that's enough to get you over the top and help you win a Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I feel like what Dame is in Portland, like, takes away from, like, not to say they don't need another, I mean, they need another star. They could use a change there. I agree. But I feel like you have your Harden already. Like, I feel like a move to trade for Harden, like trying to make, send pieces to bring in like a James Harden, a ball dominant, that takes away so much from what Dame is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But we just talked about Brooklyn, and it's like Kyrie has to have the ball a lot too. So like, I think we have to see, no matter where Harden goes, I don't know if James Harden is going to be able to go somewhere and win a championship playing the same role that we've seen him playing for the last couple of years in Houston.
Yeah, no, we both agree with that. We both, and we've talked about before. Like, I don't know what system or coach or environment or what it's going to take to like turn Harden into something. There's nothing, not to say there's anything wrong with what he does. He's great, but like his style of play, everyone said it. Kobe said it. Like, you're not going to win a championship that way. You have to take away the dribbles and create more just movement, like ball movement, body movement. Like, you got to become like less stagnant and just more. I just feel that way. But I think with the right combination of players, like if he's with Kyrie and KD, you might be able to, you can go to that in spurts. But, and look, like to his, like, look, he had that in Oklahoma City.
Exactly.
Like, they had 3 stars. He had that going already. So that's probably what he might be seeing another chance at doing something like that, getting to play like that again, where he has 2 other guys that are elite, at his level.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to be clear. Like, I think some people think that he may be unwilling to play that. So I don't think it's that he's unwilling. I think he went to Houston and they went all in on James Harden. I think
he loved it. I think, like,
and
that, like, he got a chance to really show who he was, and I think
exactly
mainly what he wanted to do, and he got close to at least getting to the championship
a couple of times. They got as close as you can get. They went all in, and a lot of, like, I don't think I would look at the Houston era as a failure. During James Harden's time there, they came close. They got bit by the injury bug a couple times, but they came as close as you're going to get to beating, the greatest team of all time. As they were going on their championship run. So, it is what it is. But yeah, we'll see. Like, I just think James Harden should be open to moving somewhere. And I don't think it's that he's unwilling to play a different style of play. He can definitely play off the ball.
But I think, I mean, to finish on Portland, like, if he was willing to kind of adopt not a new style, but just like, again, if you're going to go play with Dame Lillard, like you can really be a shooting guard now. Like go play shooting guard, be a 2 guard. Like that's your natural position. You play point guard really well. You've done it extremely well, but like get back to getting off the ball and making the game easier for yourself. But I think again, Portland could use that kind of like big time kind of almost desperate move in a way. Like if they had a chance at it, I think that'd be good for them.
All right, so we'll see what goes on with that. All right, so the next one I got, if the Nets don't get James Harden, they're still looking for somebody aggressively. So let's say they get Jrue Holiday, and then they give the Pelicans LeVert, Jared Allen, Kurucs, the shooter, and then like a pick or 2 if they feel that they need. So you get your third guy, kind of, in Jrue Holiday, good 2-way guy.
Yeah.
And then, Pelicans get, LeVert, that's another scorer for, to help out with Zion and Brandon Ingram and everything like that. And they kind of needed that last year. And just, more youth, and you get Jared Allen for defense, and you get to reload a little bit.
Why is New Orleans willing to get rid of Jrue Holiday? Like, I'm not, I don't pay attention as much.
Well, yeah, like if you think about it, Jrue Holiday, he's an excellent all-star level player, but he's approaching his 30s, and his timeline, if you look around the roster, it just doesn't fit what they're doing right now. Yeah. So it's either you keep him and you waste the back end of his prime on a team that's not necessarily rebuilding, but there are a lot of young guys that they're going to take a couple years to get really going, like in this league. Yeah. So you move him now for something valuable, hopefully something else young that you could fit into your growing nucleus.
Or okay. I feel like a Jrue Holiday, like he's not James Harden, but I love that target for Brooklyn because putting that kind of guard next to Kyrie is really what you need, that 2-way guard.
Yeah.
Who's going to make plays and defend. That kind of guard next to Kyrie. Now, I feel like LeVert can be really good next to him, but, Jrue Holiday is just on a different level. Obviously a little bit older, a little more experienced, but as an off guard, I love that look for Brooklyn. Like it doesn't have to be James Harden. If you can go get a Jrue Holiday, like that's fire too.
But he's gonna make somebody really good because Jrue Holiday there or Jrue Holiday in Denver really makes me excited for where he might want to go because Denver is also like imagine a Jrue Holiday and Jamal Murray backcourt. What are you going to do every night, And then you got Jokic and everybody's a playmaker and you just got high IQ and then you're playing, you cover up for Jokic's bad defense a little bit. You can play Michael Porter Jr. more. It's just, if he goes to Denver, it's a little creepy, man. Like,
is Denver in trade talks? Like, I'm sure
they've been really quiet, but anything's a possibility when you have that many assets. They've got a lot of young wings, they've got, Gary Harris's and such that they can stick in a trade if they're really going to get something from it. So they definitely have packages that they can return. So that's the thing. But Jrue Holiday, he's going to make somebody really, really good. And I agree with you on Brooklyn. If it's not James Harden, they still have guys they can go get. And Jrue Holiday would be really, really nice. And probably Eric Bledsoe's free agency depends on where Jrue Holiday lands, because right now there's nothing going on with that as much as the Bucks are making him available. Mm-hmm. All right. So another one I saw, the Mavericks, they're interested in Zach LaVine. They're trying to get their third. They've also been linked to Danilo Gallinari, because now with the Thunder having made that trade, Gallinari is in kind of the same situation as what we talked about with Jrue Holiday. He's a guy at the back end of his prime that's really productive right now on a rebuilding team. So he's probably not going to re-sign with the Thunder. So they couldn't go get him, but if they don't, and they're able to get Levine, Mavs get Levine and Chandler Hutchinson. Bulls, but they have to give up Seth Curry, Jalen Brunson, Dwight Powell, and then the 18th pick in this draft. So you get Zach LaVine, Kristaps, and Doncic. That's what you're locked into for the next couple of years.
That's a trigger you gotta pull.
Yeah.
That's the kind of trigger you gotta try to pull. Is Chicago? Is Chicago? Do you think Levine's on the market?
Levine's on the market because
Yeah.
we've got new people in the front office, new head coach now. There's there's a lot of young assets. People like Wendell Carter Jr. I don't know who Larry Markkinen is. I don't think that they've been utilizing the roster to where we can figure out who Larry Markkinen is. So they've got a lot of, we've got Kobe White, obviously, who had a couple hot streaks last year, especially towards the end before shutdown. But Levine is a superstar, but well, not even a superstar. Levine's a star. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, the bias was starting to like pop through, like the old fan bias. Levine is a high level scorer in this league that his numbers have not necessarily translated to wins.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing him in a potential a winning championship-ish type system is kind of like why I'm excited to see Andrew Wiggins play with the Golden State Warriors. Like that's another guy, a lot of numbers, not a lot of wins. And I feel the same way about Karl-Anthony Towns. So it's just like when you put winning guys around in a winning system around talent like that, I think you get to see it evolve a little bit. So I would be excited to see that for Levine playing with a high-level playmaker like Doncic, especially with as easily as he scores now in Chicago on a bad team. When you give a scorer like that type of playmaker, it could get ugly. He's already a mid-20s per game scorer. So it's just, and then if Kristaps can stay healthy at all, they really got something. They really got something.
They make a move for a Zach LaVine or they make any kind of upgrade at two guard or on the wing.
Yeah. Because Tim Hardaway had an okay season, so if you get an upgrade there
he's just fine, like he's just fine. He can let loose and go crazy real quick. But you throw in you start throwing in some real fire, some more firepower. That team's about to get real nasty.
All right, so the last one I got for us is Boston. I don't really know what to make of Boston because that first year they go all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals and they press LeBron to a Game 7, and then it's kind of two duds, in the two playoffs since. But it's very clear right now, if you don't have an answer at center, at some point you're going to have to deal with Bam Adebayo, Giannis, AD, or Jokic. So if you don't have it, and possibly Embiid if Philly ever gets their act together. But if you don't have an answer to that, you're not going to win. So the Celtics need an answer. So let's say they get their answer and they get Rudy Gobert. So they get Rudy Gobert, Tony Bradley, Gorgeous Niang, and then they give Utah Gordon Hayward, Tice, and the 14th pick. So now how do you like their chances in the East? It's not a sexy trade with the assets, but now how do you like their chances in the East if now they have Gobert at the center and you have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown there, and you keep Marcus Smart and Kemba Walker? Is that enough? Especially with Brooklyn out there.
I don't want to underestimate Rudy Gobert's impact, but I don't know if that changes my opinion on Boston. Like I don't know if that I just don't know. I can't say like, yeah, Gobert, they get Gobert, that's what they need. That's taking them to the promised land. Like I just don't know. I'm sure that like that'll improve their defense. It could improve their offense just in turn. But Daniel Tice was out there looking.
He played well.
Ridiculous. They for some reason Boston gets bigs to play like Aaron Baines. Like Boston just gets bigs to.
They were going by committee and they were doing it.
Absolutely. I don't know if it's Brad Stevens or just Boston or whatever. Like it's just they always get bigs to like to play really well. But yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know. I feel like Boston. I'm starting to feel like Boston needs new coaching or new something at the top. And I have nothing against Brad Stevens. I think he's fire. But it's just like they keep underachieving, it seems like. And I mean, at some point you gotta look at the coach,
Yeah.
and not the players, I mean, they've had circumstances against them and stuff, but again, like, I mean, coaching should start to come through at some point. And again, I think he's really good. So I feel like, I mean, I think at some point it'll happen for him. Jason Tatum is still like a child.
I think that's what I'm saying. And I think he needs to be, and we saw flashes of it, like, it's coming, but like he needs to become that superstar. And then Jaylen Brown needs to go ahead and take that next step and just become that all-star level player, lockdown defender on the outside. And that's what I'm saying. Like on the top end of things, if they get a Gobert, he makes their elite defense already better. And you don't need him to do anything else except that if Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum continue in their trajectory.
Yeah.
Everything else takes care of itself.
I like the Tatum Brown combination, along with, I mean, if you have Kemba Walker still in the mix and Marcus Smart, whatever.
Yeah.
Next 5 years, they're going to the finals.
Exactly.
Because they have the time. They're both in their 20s. Like in the next 5 years, they should have at least a finals appearance, right?
That's what I'm saying. And like if you're Boston, like that's really all I'll be shooting for right now. Like we have the young pieces in place, and they are improving. They played well in the bubble, and Jason Tatum, like he's getting to be there. Like he's really like there. He's really there. So like that's as close as you might ever get. So you don't mess with that. You just like hope that keeps continuing. And then, like you said, you're in the finals. You're getting cracks at for the next 5 years, and as an organization, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, and I mean, so then to your point, like a Gobert, because offensively you should be taken care of. You should be.
That's what I'm saying.
So
the only thing is we need somebody where it's like, all right, when we play against the Bucks, when they run high pick and roll, and we're going to be getting Giannis halfback dive over and over and over again, like Madden, we got to have somebody down there. And that's the way to beat the Bucks. And that's how the Bucks have been beaten for the last 4 years. Same deal. So you need a big guy that matters.
Yeah. We should see a lot of action this week, though.
Yeah, for sure. So it'll be interesting. Like, there's always a curveball that comes, so we'll see. I really don't think. I think my guess is that I don't think the James Harden is definitely going to be in Houston thing. I don't think that's as airtight as people think. I think he should really consider putting himself in a situation to win out here.
I agree. I'm gonna put the link in the description of this video to the article that I did. I think it was in 2016, the 10 players who would never win a ring unless they joined a super team. Because at the time, this is when the super teams were starting to really formalize and get crazy. In fact, I think this would have been right after KD joined the Warriors, I'm pretty sure. So
it's going to be interesting to see how many you did 10, you said?
I named 10 players, and James Harden is one of the only players left on that list that's still hanging.
Hasn't done it.
And by super team, essentially, I mean a big three. Like basically that's what it is. Like been part of a big three.
Yeah, and that's a whole separate video, but I don't think that should be frowned upon. That's just where the game is at right now. So like
no, it's not frowned upon. It's just the reality. That's just the reality of it. And I saw it happening, and I'm just like, listen, at the time I just saw it. Like, listen, Harden's great, Dame Lillard is great. Melo was still great at the time. Westbrook was great at the time and playing MVP. I'm just like, yo, all these players are great, but LeBron had to team up. KD had to team up. Those are the top 2 players in the league. Kawhi. Kawhi's a special case. I'm not going to get into that, but eventually he has teamed up now. At least he had a great situation in Toronto. That wasn't a super team in my opinion, but
no, I agree.
But circumstances also contributed to his ring as well. But my point is, even in the era of all these great players, they've teamed up and they've been on super teams, and that's how they've gotten rings. So I wrote the article saying at that time, this was now 4 years ago, saying, listen, these guys are great, but if they don't team up, they may not get a ring. It's tough.
Look, that's what I'm saying. It's really heroic what Dame Lillard is doing and stuff like that, and what Giannis says he's gonna do, which I don't know if he should either. But if you do that in this era, it's too much. You know, every now and then you'll get a Kawhi situation. Like we said, circumstances contribute to every championship or whatever. That's very, very rare, and only Kawhi and Dirk have done it in the last decade. Every other championship has been a stacked lineup. And that's just the way it is. Contracts are different. So the incentives to stay are different from where they were in the 90s when they were robbing people. You know what I mean? So like it's a lot different. The players are more empowered nowadays. So that's gonna lead to more movement. And that's just like people have to adapt to that. I love what Dame's doing though. It is what it is.